I just saw this bizarre panel discussion on Real Time with Bill Maher. And it features this guy, I guess his name is Milo Yiannopoulos, or there's absolutely zero chance of me pronouncing this guy's name right. And this is one of those occasions, and there's a lot of these, where people are talking and they're pretending to be something, and you see that there's something else there going on there, and it's really kind of confusing. Now, this guy Milo is supposed to be is the senior editor at Breitbart, a very far right media organization, and he gets on the Bill Maher show, and he is what appears to be really gay. He's acting gay, and they're talking about transgender issues, and he's dressed with pearls, and he has these very effeminate sort of mannerisms, and he's talking about transgender people in a derogatory way, and how he went to a campus and confronted a transgender guy trying to get into the bathrooms. And Bill Maher is basically flirting with this guy. The whole thing is bizarre. And Bill Maher is very supportive of him and his views, which shouldn't be the case given his liberal background. And the panel gets in discussion, and couldn't watch it. It's so contrived, and it's so staged, and it's just about creating divide, because people make these issues a lot more complicated than they actually are. And this is people on the right and the left. And I get comments all the time from people on the right and then when I make transgender videos, and there's a lot of hostility towards individual transgender people or whatever, gay people. And here's the thing. Gay people and transgender people have been around at least for 5,000 years. You can trace them back in various cultures around the world, including the Mahabharata, which ended 5,000 years ago. The Mahabharata probably started 10,000 years ago. And so there's transgender people, at least on this planet, and gay people, at least on this planet, for the last 10,000 years. So this is something that happens in the human system. It's an anomaly. I can understand this being a dyslexic person, which is another anomaly. So a lot of us have things that make us different, and there's a reason for it. There's a reason. The reason why there's many people that come to this YouTube channel because of my dyslexia and because I'm not like other people and I see things differently and I recognize patterns. So there is a reason for this. There's things that make us not fit in. And for whatever reason, we're saddled with things that make us different from other people. Everybody has something that makes them a little bit different from the majority of people, especially people in the truth community. So we can all understand this. We can all empathize with this. So there's been gay people around, and there's gay behavior in the animal kingdom. I've talked about this on farms. Female animals will mount each other and different things. That's how you tell when they're going into heat. I've talked about this in other videos. So this is something that's real. These people have a real issue. When the right people on the right say, well, they're just acting gay, or they're becoming gay, or they're making themselves gay, or they're choosing to be gay, that's not accurate. They're born this way. They're born transgender. They're born gay. And so that is something that you have to have some compassion for, because it's got to suck. It's something that's kind of a bummer for them. It can't be something that's good. A lot of these people commit suicide. They have mental issues, whatever. It's a horrible thing for them. So individually, you have to have compassion for these people. And it's not really my business or your business to judge them, because everyone has their own struggles that are between them and God. And really, no one wants anybody else commenting or degrading them for their difficulties and their struggles, in terms of everything's between you and God on some level. Unless you hurt somebody else, you're hurting somebody else, or you're affecting somebody else, then most other people don't really have a right to comment on your own struggles. They don't know what it's like to be you. They don't know what it's like for you to go through certain things. And so this is how life is for everybody. But then you have a collective movement. That's what I comment about here. When there's a controlling system that are trying to force something that isn't true on the rest of you. They're trying to force something on the rest of us. They're saying that being a transgender person is normal, that when a person identifies as the opposite sex, they are that opposite sex, and they're using a very weak and not committal change in the DSM diagnosis. They change it from being a gender identity disorder to gender dysphoria. And so they took something that they said, all right, this used to be a disorder, but now we think it's just dysphoria, and that this is a semi-natural reaction. And everybody in the transgender community, but really it was more the controllers and the people that pushed this movement, the media and everybody. There's somebody behind this because it's a small percentage of the population. And all of a sudden they're saying, all right, these people are who they think they are inside. And so there isn't something that's wrong with them. This is a natural occurrence, and everybody needs to embrace this. And then they're forcing this on the rest of us. And here's the problem. There's no way for them to know that. The psychiatrists that write the DSM-5 are not good people, and they're not evolved, and they're not conscious of these things, and they don't understand it. I mean, a lot of the diagnoses are this way. And they cave to political pressure, and they were told, probably, I know they're told, to make this change. And then they're pushing this movement and forcing it on the rest of us with the idea that they know, that they just know this is right, this is normal behavior, and the rest of you have to accept it. And there's just an arrogance here when they don't have the evidence, they don't have the support for it, and it's not for everybody. This is something that should be isolated to the people that are born with this condition. Now, you could say the same thing about abortion and flat earth. I want to take two different ideas here because they're different in terms of the political spectrum. But in terms of abortion, they are saying that life doesn't begin till when? Because why do they know this? Now, any real true scientist knows when you take two different things and you combine them together and they produce a third thing, that third thing is itself something different. You know, just like H2O, we take two parts hydrogen, or one part hydrogen, two parts oxygen, and you have water. Water is different than hydrogen, it's different than oxygen. The same thing, you take a part of a man's sperm and a female's egg, and you combine them and they make a third person. It has its own existence. And so this would be a scientific reason to say that life begins at conception. So there is much more evidence to support that life begins with conception. And since nobody really knows, there's no way you should just kill it. You don't have the right to kill it because you have not proven that life doesn't begin. You have not proven that there isn't a soul, all these things. And so you leave it alone because you're killing something that you don't know what it is. And the same thing with the people in the flat earth community who say, you know, the flat earth is definitely, you know, I know it's a flat earth. People say that to me all the time, but you don't know it because you still haven't solved the problem of what are the sun and the moon spinning around. They're spinning around something that isn't the earth because of this mobile model. I've talked about this. And since you don't have an answer for that, I've asked many times, and people said, well, there's no video about this. Nobody's solved this problem yet. Why are the sun and the moon spinning around on top of the earth, and what are they spinning around? There's lots of anomalies, lots of issues here, and you don't have a legitimate theory until you can explain everything that's in your theory. And so it's the same thing. You can't say, I know. You could say, yes, I believe this, but we're still working out the theory. There's lots of holes in the flat earth theory. So this is something both from the left and the right where people say, yeah, I know. You don't know. You don't know because you don't have when you have holes in your theory that life doesn't begin at conception, or that the sun and the moon are spinning around the earth and not like a mobile, but I don't know what they're spinning around or why they stay in orbit over the earth. This is a hole in your theory, just like there's a hole in the theory that life doesn't begin in conception. And the same thing, that being transgender is something that's normal, and that it's something that everybody should embrace, that we should all be men and women at different times in our lives. So anyways, coming back to this Bill Maher thing, they're clearly pushing this guy, this Milo guy. They're clearly pushing this guy. He's appearing all over the place. They're pushing him out there because he's raising conflict. They're getting away from the simplicity of what these issues are about. And it's just weird. The whole thing I watched, like I said, I watched like 3 minutes of it, and the whole thing is bizarre. Bill Maher flirting with this guy, supporting him, the panel reacting. It's just, I couldn't watch it. It's just like there's some kind of, I don't know what you call it. It's like an abomination of truth. All right, so this is Paul Romano reporting from the apocalypse. Everybody have a blessed day.